Now, here in Nigeria, the central bank says old 500 and 1,000 naira notes will remain legal tender until the end of the year, in line with a judgment made by the Supreme Court earlier this month. Banks have also been directed to comply with the court's decision that allowed for old and new naira notes to run concurrently until the 31st of December. A lack of newly designed naira notes led to a cash shortage in the country, where 40% of the population don't have bank accounts. Long queues were witnessed at banking halls and cash machines, with many unable to access the new banknotes, sparking nationwide protests. Well, Arise's political editor and director of news, Sumner Sambo, has been monitoring developments, and he joins me now for more in the studio. Good to see you, Sumner.
Thank you so much, Charles.
So is the cash crunch now over, or is this still lingering? Because I understand that many businesses are still rejecting the old money.
Yeah, I mean, it's still lingering. I mean, it's sort of relief, mixed excitement for a lot of Nigerians, and with a lot of people beginning to wonder why we had such an interregnum of, policy, issues here and there, and then of course eventually the government coming back to the same issue after a lot of pressure. Now, a lot of people went to the banks this morning expecting to get the old notes, but the banks still don't have it.
I have to say, I went to the bank today,
I
got 10,000 naira.
Yeah, I mean, that's the situation.
So I did better than you.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get anything. And then of course, it's supposed to come with, the limits being lifted, the limits of the 20,000 naira. But I mean, we got reports from several of our correspondents saying that a lot of anxious Nigerians are still caught in a fix. Some of the people who haven't got the news clearly, and those who have got the news, but they are still thinking that it doesn't sound
really
well.
Go in there?
Yeah, no, it doesn't really sound well for the old naira notes to come back into existence. So we're all waiting to see how things go on. But as at today, there's still a lull, especially for the commercial banks. Many of them don't have the old money. Don't forget, the central bank had said at some point that some of those old monies would definitely be incinerated based on the rules of the Apex Bank. But we are hoping that as it moves on into Wednesday and Thursday, the commercial banks will have some of the old naira notes being given to them by the central bank, and they'll start disbursing. But some people still, for the fun of it, will tell you that they will never ever want to handle the old notes any longer. They just prefer the new notes.
Yeah, I have to say that I mean, I'm inclined to sort of agree on a sentimental level with them, because having handled both, I mean, I got the old notes today, but I've been having the new notes, and it just doesn't feel right. But part of the reason for this policy ban was to stop vote buying by politicians. Now that the ban has been lifted, what happens? Because you've got governorship elections on Saturday.
Yeah, Charles, if you had asked me this last week, I also give you the same answer I'm about to give right now. My suspicion is that the federal government and the central bank were just waiting for the governorship and state houses of assembly elections to be over before they comply with the Supreme Court's directive, so that it doesn't run counter to their earlier decision to curb vote buying. But you would have seen the tremendous pressure that the central bank and the federal government have been facing. And of course, yesterday, President Buhari had to just come out to say, look, I mean, let's just put it out there. I didn't force anyone. But it was a sort of a political solution to an issue that should have been resolved right from the week that the Supreme Court gave the order. But if the federal government had obeyed, it would have run counter to its earlier decision to curb vote buying. But with the court cases and then some party leaders in the governing All Progressives Congress putting lots of pressure on the president, the Attorney General of the Federation, and then the central bank governor, they had no choice than to just buckle. So it's unfortunate that we found ourselves in a situation whereby we would have to go into the elections on Saturday with the same old notes, and there's a tendency that vote buying will be everywhere.
Absolutely. That's a very good point. That's a worrying point. But the other sort of concerning thing is the fact that these redesigned notes were also supposed to combat counterfeiting and things like, kidnaps for ransom. What happens to those now?
We've actually seen a reduction, drastic reduction in people kidnapping others, and then even when there's a kidnap, people asking for cash. So in that instance, you will say that the policy actually, enjoys some sort of acceptability. And most Nigerians everywhere across the country will tell you that the policy itself is a very good one.
Yeah.
It's just the implementation by the government. And then it looks like it was being hastened and all of that. And when you had even international bodies like the IMF, World Bank saying that the government should actually elongate the period within which the new currency should come into place and within which to withdraw the old currency, it looked like the central bank was beginning to lose ground. So, I mean, lots of pressure here and there, but I can tell you that a lot of Nigerians will tell you that this policy has helped them to save more monies in their pockets, because, I mean, a lot of people who come around and just like you just collected 10,000. On a good day, you give that 10,000 out without, really thinking so much. But when you give someone 1,000 naira, 2,000 or 5,000, they appreciate it more right now. And so it's a good policy, and I just hope that Nigerians will reconsider all of the decision making that went into this and forgive the government wherever they made mistakes, including the central bank, and focus on how we can move to, make sure that we maximize the opportunities, the gains, especially in curbing kidnappings, in ensuring that, we track the monies. Because the good thing about this now is that a lot of people are doing online transactions.
Yes.
The government can track where monies are going to. Absolutely. If someone is kidnapped and they're asking for ransom and the money is paid online, the money can be trailed. So there are some good aspects of it, but of course a lot of Nigerians actually suffered from this, and we are hoping that we'll all find time to heal, because everyone has been facing this cash crunch.
Sumner, thanks very much indeed.
Thank
Sumner
so
Sambo
much.
is a politics editor and director.